I'm going to show you the best way to make silver in Albion Online in 2023 as a solo player, as a guildless player, as a new player that doesn't have crafting maxed out, and people that don't have premium. It's gathering, that's all it is. You just simply gather and you will make silver. It's that simple. Let me show you what we're doing today. I'm in a tier 4 blue zone with 17 other people apparently, which is actually terrible. But I'm doing this during prime time to show you that as long as you're gathering, you are earning silver. It's that simple, okay? So I'm going to just eat a pork pie. I have my gathering set equipped, and for the next 30 minutes, we're just going to gather. And because I've shown this many times where I speed up the footage and people complain, I just won't speed up the footage this time. And what I'm doing is I'm just picking up resources off the ground. That's all I'm really doing. And I can actually choose to skip resources if I want, but I'm mostly going to be grabbing these tier 2 resources, which not only are they the lowest resource, they're also the fastest resource to harvest. Now, as a brand new player, you won't mine or harvest as fast as I am, and because I'm wearing tier 8, you won't be able to harvest as much at one time, and that's totally okay, because you can get to where my character currently is with this gear in your first week of playing. You play for 1 week and you will have tier 8 unlocked with learning points. It's pretty quick to get there. People have already gotten there on the new beta server on the second day, but then again the beta server starts you out with like 2,000 learning points. So learning points let you skip most of the grind. I have a video on my channel that talks about the learning points. But what I normally do is I will fire up Albion Online on my first monitor, okay? And I have 2 monitors, and I will just watch television shows, anime, movies, YouTube videos, Twitch streams on my second monitor, or listen to music, or sometimes I actually play 2 games at once. I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy lately. I've been playing Tactics Ogre lately. I've been playing that. I kind of want to make videos on it, but it's not a very popular game, so I don't think the videos will really do anything on my channel. But I will just randomly click resources as I run around the zone, and then when my bags fill up, whereas my carry weight is currently 11%, I will then return to town, and I can sell the materials, I can refine the materials. We're going to do some refining today, just because I want to show you, since I live in Bridgewatch, and we're doing stone mostly in this zone. I'm just going to show you just how much I'm going to make from refining this tier 2 stone. And I think I might not harvest any more of the copper today. I don't really need to. I only have journals for stone gathering. I've got some mercenary journals too. And looks like some lumberjack journals. So I have all of my mining journals filled up. By the way, if you want to learn more about journals and laborers, I've got videos on my channel about those too. So feel free to go check those out. Also, I don't think I'm going to be harvesting tier 4 travertine just because the price is so low, but if you're on the Asia server, you should absolutely harvest travertine. It's going to be very well worth it. Alright, and that noise, that little womp noise that you just heard, that means that I dismounted near a hostile player. And you may be wondering, well, how the hell is he hostile if you're in a blue zone? And the way it works is I'm currently faction flagged. So you see this little yellow symbol next to my name? That is called being faction flagged, and I am representing the city of Bridgewatch when I am faction flagged. That guy was representing Martlock, the blue town, which is the, it's kind of border. It's up here somewhere. This is Martlock, essentially. You see the blue laser, and then down here is Bridgewatch, the orange laser. So we can actually fight in the blue zone because we're both faction flagged. But I'm just gathering, and I don't really plan to fight unless I know I can kill him easily, and he didn't want to stop and fight because he's probably transporting or something. But that is an option, and the reason I'm faction flagged is because every time I kill something, harvest something, gather something, I'm getting these little faction token points. Right here, you can see it, I'm at 1,516. Every time I acquire 9,000 of those, I trade it in for a faction chest, which will give me, on average, 250,000 fame tomes. Well, it gives me fame tomes worth 250,000 fame, let's say that. And it gives me around 60,000 average silver in just random loot. Random loot could be materials, treasures, items, you name it. Alright, and so we're just going to gather until our pork pie runs out, because our pork pie is giving us a gather bonus. You should always eat the the pork pie when gathering, and that will increase your yield. It also increases how much you can hold for that period of time, so absolutely recommended. Now, another thing too is I generally just kind of go randomly around the maps, and if I don't find any like if I don't find any 4.3 resource nodes, I'll change maps until I do. And when I do find one, I make a note of it on the map, and then I will just sit there, and there is a marmot blocking the tree, so I had to kill him. I'm sorry, guys, but he was hugging that tree. He didn't want me to cut it down. He was begging. He's like, please don't cut this tree down. It's my home. Even though marmots live in the ground, not in trees. But this one was different. He moved into a nice tree house, and I came along, and I wanted the wood. Marlock has just captured the zone. That's another thing, too, is when Bridgewatch eventually comes along to recapture this zone, which they will in due time, I will be nearby, and I could participate in that fight and gain some extra bonus faction points. So it's always a good idea. And I'm just going to go ahead and kill this mob real quick so I can grab this limestone. And I'm going to show you how much we earn at the end of this 30-minute session so that you can see, well, if, you know, I'm always telling people that new players, after like 2 to 3 days of playing, you can buy an 8.3 weapon if you just grind and play enough. It's not that bad. I know some of you guys are born into a generation of instant gratification. Maybe I sound like the old guy here, but, you know, in the world of TikTok and instant, you know, like back in my day, if I wanted to look at an image on the internet, you know what I mean, it would take several minutes for the page to load the image. And you guys, as soon as you click a web page, it's fully loaded. It's insane, right? Like, instant gratification is a huge thing, and I understand that you may not want to sit down and do what I'm doing here on screen for several hours a day for several days. But that's how MMORPGs have always worked. EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, there's an endless amount of MMORPGs that require you to grind. But the coolest thing is that once you grind, you're now better than everyone else that didn't grind, and that's just an amazing feeling. And one of the reasons that I personally play MMORPGs is because I can transmute my free time into power in a video game, and then I can use my power in the video game to go after players that don't have as much free time or as much willpower to sit down and play a game for as long. And because of that, it allows me to have the most fun possible out of all video games, because when you play like a shooting game these days, you have what's called matchmaking. If you play League of Legends, you have matchmaking, unless you make Smurf accounts, and even then those matchmake you really quick into the higher skilled you know, parts of the game. So on all of these games, you're basically fighting fair opponents that are around your skill level most of the time. But in MMORPGs, if you're very powerful and highly geared and super rich, you can choose to go to areas where players aren't, and you can dump on them, basically. You can just destroy them and bask in the glory of being able to overpower real people in a virtual world. And that's just amazing to me. That's the whole entire reason that I play these types of games. So, you have to do the boring stuff to get to the fun stuff, but when you get to the fun stuff, it's actually really fun. And the thing is that, like I said, I normally do this kind of activity while I'm watching TV shows or anime or whatever, and I'm going to watch those animes anyway, so I might as well keep my hands busy playing a video game. That sounds so wrong when I word it out like that. But, you know, when I run into these little enchanted mobs, I like to kill them, too, because they give good fame. They drop in a decent amount of silver. Like this guy here, when I kill him, he's going to give me 687 silver. It's not much, but it's about the same amount as gathering one of these resource nodes. It's really not that bad. I'll explain what I'm talking about in just a minute. Other than that, we have another 19 minutes of gathering. So, let me show you what I mean when I say whenever I gather a resource. Let me find a nice resource here to gather that's, you know, a full node, and, well, I'll wait. Okay, we got a tier 3 node here. Let's see, the rocks. Tier 3 rocks. These are valued at 3,295. Now they're valued at 3,800. So I made about 600 something silver doing that. You know, I clicked the button, made 600 silver. But it's actually more than that when you refine it, or if you choose to refine it. So here's a big juicy monster we can kill, maybe. Of course we can kill it. We're very overgeared for the zone. And this monster will drop us 687 silver. So look, I made 687 silver killing that. I made 687 silver mining this. I made another 600 something silver mining this, and it just, you know, it's just a fun little break sometimes, but also I am filling these mercenary journals when I kill things, which I have a more faster, more reliable way to fill the journals. But when I'm mining, I'm also filling these mining journals, so I'm going to be getting more resources than you're actually seeing. And it looks like I've already filled up 2 of these lumberjack journals just chopping trees so far. I filled up 7 of these stonecutter journals, and each of these stonecutter journals gives me 57 of these limestones. So how much is that worth, you may ask? Well, let's go to 57 limestones here, and that's worth 2,000. That is 2,000 silver every time I fill a journal, but it's actually more because, like I said, we're going to be refining these into blocks, and because they are tier 2, the refining is free. So, and because I'm at Bridge Watch, the refining is it's a bonus, right? And then I'm just gonna wait until this says stone up here, and then I'm gonna get an even bigger bonus when I refine it. So I'm just basically playing the long game here. And, you know, this whole time, I've at least made, you know, maybe, I don't know, more than 30,000. It's actually more than 30,000 silver. I'm way lowballing us there, but you get the point, guys. It's just free money. And, of course, I could kill these little mobs if I wanted to. You know, just kill them in one hit, because I do have the 8-3 weapon, which you can complain that, yes, new players won't have this, but they can have it in just, like, a few days of doing this. You just gotta do this for a few days, and then it's yours. Just to be able to equip a tier 8 weapon, you can do it on day 1. I was looking back at old footage, you know, I think the world record for a brand new character to being able to equip tier 8 is like 9 hours of playtime. That's it. That is okay. If you work a job and have a wife and kids and a life, and you know, you sleep like 8 hours a day, maybe you can't do it in 1 day, but you can do it in 3 days. And so I've always said, the first 3 days, like, you can play 9 hours of video games in 3 days. Hopefully. I'm assuming you can. If you can't, why are you playing an MMORPG? This game is not for you, Pops. This game is for us hardcore people that don't have long jobs. And, like, I used to be one of those people. I used to have to work minimum 12 hours a day. I would drive 2 hours to work in a retail store, minimum 12 hours, drive 2 hours back home, eat food, cook, eat, clean. That was an hour and a half. Go to the gym for 1 to 2 hours. I don't even know how many hours are left in the day, but I would maybe get 3 to 4 hours of sleep and go back to work the next day. And with that kind of life, I was unable to play these types of games. There's just no way that someone with that crappy of a life, and, you know, maybe you enjoy it, but you have to choose. Do you want to be the wagey, or do you want to be the MMORPG gamer, right? And so, well, due to life circumstances, I didn't get to make that choice, but I was like, you know what, I got some free time now, I can play these games once again. And it just so happens that being a YouTuber for this game, you know, it's okay. I don't really make not nearly as much as I used to working retail, but I'm free. I'm free from the boss man. I don't have to do close opens. I don't have to worry about call-ins. I don't have to worry about holidays. I don't have to worry anymore. I can just live off the rest of my savings, which is not very much, but thanks to some of you generous folks out there, you keep me going for a little bit longer, hopefully, maybe. I don't know. And I can continue to make these videos for you so that now you have something to watch and listen to while you grind and farm and gather and stuff like that. But like I said, at the end of today's video, I'll show you how much I earned, and I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be too much because I keep mining iron and chopping trees, which is slowing me down because I'm not wearing gathering gear for iron and trees. I'm just clicking on it because it's something to click and then number go up when I click, right? Like, I chop these trees. I'm not getting too much from them because I don't have the full tree chopping suit on, okay? But it's something for my character to gather and then money go up when I click. It's just how it is. if I wanted to really focus. Also, I forgot to mention at the start of the video, but stone on the west server is currently the worst resource in the game that you can gather. But I just wanted to show you that even though I'm gathering the worst resource, I'm still gonna make an okay amount of money, an okay amount of silver that will allow me to buy whatever I want in the game. Most MMORPGs, you can't do this. You can't just hoard up and gather things and then buy the best gear in the game. Most MMORPGs have a system where you have to go kill an epic legendary dragon, where you have to submit your will and your free time to some stupid guild that will scream at you over voice chat and make you play the way that you don't want to play, where you'll have to set an alarm clock to make raid times, and then deal with a bunch of stupid virtual drama with people that you'll never meet in the real world. And then you're going to spend the next 2 to 3 hours slogging through a dungeon to slay a dragon, and that dragon has a 5% chance to drop the weapon that you want, and there's 10 people in the guild that also want that weapon, and you can only kill the dragon once a week if you even manage to get there and kill it, if people don't get drunk or high and kill everyone else in the raid. And then, if you're not the best friend's girlfriend's husband, aunt, uncle, brother of the guild leader, then most likely you're not going to get the weapon on the first time it drops. And if your guild is slightly more fair, you might get a chance to roll for it, in which case you're going to be rolling against other players that don't even need the weapon, and they're just rolling for their friends that will secretly trade that weapon to their friends after they win the weapon. So it'll go to some guy that doesn't even truly want the weapon. He's just like, oh, that looks cool, I want it. And then, 2 weeks later, you're like, why aren't you wearing that weapon? And he's like, oh, it wasn't an upgrade. And you're wondering, well, what the hell are you even doing rolling for it in the first place? It's just a huge cycle of madness and depression, and it's just painful. But in Albion Online, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can just click on the rocks for 3 days, and then you get your shiny super weapon. It's that easy, okay? Really depends on the weapon that you think is shiny and super. For instance, an 8.4 masterpiece would probably take you months to get, which is kind of the same, I guess, as joining a guild and suffering through RNG random drop rates and social stigmas. But you don't need an 8.4 masterpiece. You just don't. Like, if you can already one-shot everything in these simple zones with an 8.3, which only takes a few days to get, why would you get an 8.4? Because you want to beat up people in the yellow zones, and I respect that. That's what I'm all about. So what happens is, that's when you start getting into things that'll make you more money faster, like crafting, okay? On my chef character, you know what I did on my chef character? He's making like 2.4 million a day, and it took me 90 days to buy one of the best bows for just group PvP, right? So now I can ride into a group of players in the yellow zone and use that bow that took me 90 days to manually farm and just nuke people down with it, if I want to. And I didn't have to join a guild. I didn't have to do any of that crap. I just woke up every day and cooked some food and put it on the market, and that's it. That's all I had to do. It's of course, people can argue, well, that's a waste of time. Just go work at McDonald's, get a paycheck, and then swipe that credit card, give SBI your money, and then you will instantly have the funds to be able to buy that weapon. And yes, you could do that, but I'd rather click on shiny rocks than work at McDonald's. Okay, so I'm clicking the tree, and the tree falls over, and I get the loot. Alright, it's that simple. Instead at McDonald's, it's like you open the tray to the nuggets that are cooked, and then you grab the scoop, and then you read the order, and then the order says 6 chicken nuggets, so you scoop in 6 chicken nuggets into the box, okay, and there you go, and then you scoot the box down the assembly line, and oh no, the cashier's called in, so now you gotta go to the front, because there's an old lady, and she doesn't know how to use the self-serve kiosk. So you gotta talk to her, but she doesn't really exactly speak your native language, and that's okay. So you borrow a coworker's phone because you don't have a phone because you're kind of cheap and trying to save money so you can pay SBI for 8.4 masterpiece bows. and you ask him if he can translate, but it just so happens that he knows the language, and so he just takes the order. You go back to the assembly line, but you notice that while you're not in the assembly line, someone messed up an order, so you have to throw all of that away and then mark it in the lost log. And there's just, it's like, that's too much. Just let me click trees and rocks for 3 days. Why would you go to work at McDonald's? And you may be thinking, well, what about getting a better job? Now, see, here's where things start to divulge, okay? Because not everyone can get a better job. Do you honestly think that I would be here playing this video game and making videos for you if I could get a real job? Like, I'm talking a real man's job where you make a livable wage doing something where you can see a difference to society and you can bask upon all the things that you've built over the years. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing in the virtual world with my channel, right? But the point is that people like me aren't allowed to work livable wage jobs because of a few reasons. Reason number one is you need a higher level of education to even be looked at, even to be considered for one of those types of jobs. Secondly, not everyone has the capacity to be able to get those kinds of educations, either because of their background or because of how poor they are, because where I'm from, it's very expensive to seek higher education. But at the same time, if you didn't have a good upbringing, if you lived in the ghetto all your life and you went through a lot of, like, very violent gangster traumas, then your mental state will never be good enough to be able to just function around normal people that make a lot of money or live in normal society, okay? I don't know how to explain this any clearer, but people, especially people like me, who can sit here and mine virtual rocks for 12 to 19 hours a day, you know, we don't function very well in society as a whole, and even though some of us are gifted with, you know, masterclass acting and can put on a fake persona to pretend we are normal, eventually that persona will start to leak and crack, and then the mask comes off, the tarot cards go flying, and then the world is revealed that we're just an internet troll, to the point where, you know, we're not allowed to climb the corporate ladder for several years until all the old fogies that don't like our morals fade away and retire, or worse. Another thing too is that you piss off the wrong customer, or not even a customer anymore. It's more like if you piss off corporate, or if you happen to piss off even a criminal, like a shoplifter, okay? You may not realize it, and a lot of people are very ignorant to the fact. They think that when you're in a grocery store, and you see someone shoplifting, that they're just hungry, and that's never the case. The case is that they're stealing endless amounts of Tide and televisions and baby formulas, not because they have a baby at home or they're hungry. It's because they want drug money. It's because they want to sell those products on Craigslist on the side of the road or at a flea market for very cheap. Have you ever seen a Craigslist ad that's like, oh, my grandma died and she left all this Tide, $5 for the whole box. They're normally $20 at the store, but I'll sell it to you for $5 because my grandma died. And yes, that's a great deal. However, that person just stole a bunch of Tide from a store. Their grandma didn't die. You know, check the obituaries, check the death logs, start questioning them in the parking lot that they're trying to sell it to you in, and just watch them get mad. It's a great troll. And then, you know, a lot of these products have, like, you may not realize this, but it really depends on where you live. But grocery stores have a sneaky little way of imprinting on objects. Okay, so one grocery store that I worked at, we had this security device that would mark an object with invisible lining, okay, like on the side of a package to mark it that it belongs to that store and, you know, the time it was ordered and blah, blah, blah. It's like a little code. So all you gotta do is check the area where it's supposed to be marked and be like, oh, so you got the Tide at this store. Where did you know, you can be like, where'd your grandma live? Oh, she lived down on West Side. And you check the invisible tag marking and it's like 50 miles away on the east side. And you're like, oh, really? That's interesting. Why would she drive 50 miles to buy the Tide? You know, that happens to be like 2 miles down the road where this dude's setting up his shop. Okay? It's always people that drive the newest, like, I always hated that too. I would chase a shoplifter out of a store, and they would, their escape vehicle was always a brand new car. And I'm driving like an old 25-year-old freaking car that like can barely get me to work and back without maximum amounts of repairs and the ultimate stress. I'll just be like, you know, stopped at a red light and the car will just stall out and die. And then I'll have to push it to the side of the road and jump start it and a bunch of other crap just to get to and from work. And then you have these shoplifters and their brand new, you know, what is this year, 2023? You know, I haven't been in retail since 2018, but they'd have like brand new cars, you know, and then even if you follow them to their house, they'd have these fancy double-story houses with gated fences and just the nicest yards, and it's like, these guys just smile at you because they know what they're doing. No one's gonna stop them. The police don't care. The police don't even prosecute. They can steal like $999 worth of product, and they're just gonna, like, the police will be like, yeah, we'll just drop this one. You know, he learned his lesson. He's not that much of a danger to society. He's not even really a danger to society. He's just stealing from multi-billion, you know, dollar corporations. And that's another argument too that people throw out, is that how does shoplifting hurt you? And I'll tell you. The reason is that as a former manager of a retail store, what happens is when people shoplift at your store, you have to pay for it. And I don't mean it comes out of your paycheck. It comes out of the store's budget. So what happens is that instead of going to work where 3 people called in and I have to do 5 jobs at once, I don't have the budget to schedule those people. So that means other people call in, and now I have to do the job of 8 people. And that just makes my life a personal living hell. Imagine, I want you to imagine what it's like to go to work and this happens, okay? You walk into work. You notice there's no shopping carts available for customers. They're all out in the parking lot. And no one returned their shopping carts. They're just running into cars, blowing in the wind, going down the highway. Okay? So, and there's no one to go get them except you. You just clocked in. And let's say that you live in an extreme weather area. I'm talking, I don't know Celsius conversion, but let's say it's 120 degrees outside. This is hot enough to give you heat stroke. And you have to wear a button-down t-shirt, you have to wear an undershirt, you have to wear a vest, you have to wear a safety vest when you're outside that has reflective light and it's kind of heavy. Yes, and you have to wear several other pieces of equipment for your job, like box cutters and these little computer-like thingies that are kind of similar to Pip-Boys from Fallout, and a whole bunch of other devices. All at once, because that's your job. So now you're out in the sweltering heat, and I love heat. I'm a weirdo who loves heat, but I know most people aren't, so I'm using this to my advantage here. Okay, so you're out in the sweltering heat, and you don't get one of those fancy little robots that pushes the carts for you because, well, shoplifters stole the machinery out of it. Whoops. And so, you now have to push those carts, and this is going to take about 2 hours to get all of them in the store because customers are still coming in, but at the same time, you're the manager, so guess what you have to do? You have to always answer customers, and hey, there's a conference call in 5 minutes from corporate, you can't miss that, so you have to abandon your cart duties, which are not even your duties to begin with, and you gotta be on that conference call, but hey, there's no one at the service center, which is where people go to cash checks and play lottery and send money illegally through whatever. And so you have to man that station while you're on the conference call, being screamed at by customers. And there's no cashiers, so the service center is now the only cash register. Also, no one filled in the lottery machine, and there's a bunch of old people that want to gamble that day. Also, the coin machine, there's this thing, it's called the Coin Star, and you put your coins in it. It's for people that just have a bunch of jumbled change. It'll spit out a voucher, and then you give them cash money for the voucher. Essentially, it just turns coins into cash for a small fee. And it's not a small fee, it's like 15% or something ridiculous. But whatever, you know, these people don't have banks, so they can't take it to the bank to do it for free. Understandable, I guess. You know, and so all of this is broken at once. Now you have people stealing because the lines are too long. So what happens in a retail store is that if there's no one to check them out, they get impatient after about 5 minutes. And they think that they're entitled to their products because there's no one there to check them out, or the line is too long. So they just walk out with product, which means you have to go gather intel of the vehicles they're driving and what they're stealing to report for loss prevention, which is never there because, well, you're in the ghetto. Why would they be there when they can guard the rich people's stores where they want to keep up their image of safety and integrity? The ghetto, no one cares about. At least corporate doesn't care. So, at the same time, your self-checkout person is out of money and their machines can't operate because they dispensed money automatically and there was no person in the morning to come in and fill those changers before the store opened. So it's now your responsibility as the manager. Oh, and also your dairy team called in, so there's no one to restock eggs and milk, which is a fundamental of every retail store ever. It's why people go to retail stores, you know, for basic food needs, I suppose. And there's no one in your produce section either. You know, they just didn't show up. They didn't even call in. So you have to also stock that, and and this is happening all at once. And the reason why you don't have enough help is because shoplifters robbed your store raw last week, and you have to make up for all that lost money. Yes, there's a small amount of funds allocated to stores, and I'm aware my food buff ran out. I'm talking here. I'm gathering here, guys. I'm gathering here. Let's go. But the point is that when people shoplift, this is the stress that you're putting a real person through. And honestly, it's not worth the money. It's not worth the sanity. Alright, this is the kind of stress that will paralyze half your face for 3 months if you go through it. It's called Bell's palsy. You can look it up. It's a real thing. Okay, and do you want to do that so you can give SBI your hard-earned money? So that you can get premium, or for an 8.3 weapon. That was the spiel we're doing today. We're not talking about premium. Premium's way more expensive. Okay, premium's like a whole month of doing this almost. Not really. It's only like a couple days for me, but I can spend all day doing this. But what I'm trying to say is working retail is absolute hell, and there's no escape. The only escape is these YouTube videos. Oh man, please click that join button down below. $5 a month, please. You have to do it. You have to save me. Oh man. Anyway, let's wrap up this little gathering adventure. We still have more video to go. It's not about to be over. I'm guessing we got 20 more minutes of rambling. So I just want to get a little bit more stone here, just a little bit more. Come on now, and you know we've been at this 32 minutes. Okay, it's not too much over the 30-minute mark. You know, I don't know. I've got like 20 gathering videos where I show you how much you can make in 30 minutes and 1 hour, 2 hours, and so on. And this isn't one of those. This is just this is just how to make the best way to make money in 2023. So there you go, it's gathering, guys, and I'm going to show you just how far this goes, okay? I'm about to teleport back to town, okay? And I just want you to feel the suffering of working in retail, please. No, I don't. I don't want anyone to ever go through what I had to go through. It's like, was I a villain in my past life? What did I do to deserve this? I've been a good boy on this life. Why? What did I do? I just wasn't born rich. Oh well. Sad day. Alright, chop of the trees. Yes. Okay, let's teleport back. I'm done gathering. I'm getting... I don't know. Getting depressed here. Okay. We got a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna put away these journals, okay? Actually, I'm gonna do a little bit of calculations here. We have 19 of these journals. Okay, so 19 times 57 is 1,083. Let's repair. 40,000 in repairs. Not a big deal. We more than made that back. We don't have enough points for a chest, but we do have exactly enough for a heart. I could buy a faction heart for 40,000. That would cover the repairs right there. So whatever. I don't care. I don't know if y'all heard that, but I did let out a fart. Yep, that's what happens. Okay. 1,083 stone. Now, a lot of people are going to be wondering, what the heck are you about to do here? These 19 stonecutter journals, when turned in, will each give 57 tier 2 stone. Okay, so we're going to take 1,083, so I need 84. So that would be Yes, that's 1,083. And we're going to add these to our inventory. There we go. And then we're going to remove these journals just entirely from our inventory. Okay, and I'm not doing it for the wood. I don't care enough to calculate exacts. But let's remove those. Okay. And this leaves us, and then let me put my tools away because the tools are worth a whole bunch of money, okay? So in this time frame, it's not gonna, oh, let's put those away too. It's not gonna look like much, but we're at 266,000 silver, okay? Now, mind you, I told you earlier in the video that not only are we harvesting the most worthless of the materials, but I also mostly focused on tier 2 materials, which are the starting materials, okay? But also, I don't have premium, and I wasn't really focusing anyway because I'm just blabbing my mouth. So let's increase that 266k. That's in about 30 minutes. You know, it was like 32 minutes, but who's really counting here? So let's just go refine this for completely free. And remember, it's not. I shouldn't refine this because it's not a plus 10% stone day. I'm gonna do it anyway, and this will take a little bit more time. And yes, I'm aware this bench is 9,999, but like I said, limestone is free. And so we're going to now refine 5,391 limestone into blocks. And then we're going to continue to refine because we're going to get some of that back at 36.7%. And you'll notice that my estimated market value is going to start rising here. So, you know, this is just raw silver at this point, okay? So if an 8.3... check it out, like... Imagine an 8.3 weapon cost you 3 million. Okay, well, let's say I did this and I made 300,000. So that means if I just do this 9 more times, I can buy that 8.3 weapon, which I will have forever. And some people are like, I read this excuse in the comments too, because I read every single YouTube comment, and the comment was, well, what if I buy an 8.3 weapon and then I don't like it, or I don't want to use it? Then I'm just out that money. And technically, no, you're not, because you can just sell the 8.3 weapon back. The only thing that you're out of is the tax required to sell the items. That's it. I have a video on my channel on how to always pay 4% tax, even without premium. It's a pretty simple trick. So go check that out. Just search it up on the channel. The point I'm getting at, though, is that you can easily do what I just did in this video 10 times while you watch anime and television and talk to whoever, maybe just chilling in Discord, you play other games while doing this. You know, you just click 2 screens, you know, just back and forth. And, I mean, surely you can't play, like, League of Legends, I guess. That would be a harder game to play while you play this, you know, that because you need constant clicking and actions per minute. But something slower you could absolutely do, like some sort of tower defense game or something. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what... No, don't say other game names in the comments. That is really bad for the algorithm. Okay, I hate when people do that. I'll put out, like, a New World video, and then people are like, Albion Online, in the comments. I'm like, stop it. Talk about New World. Or whatever, okay? But I'm telling you, if a weapon's 3 million silver, you do this 10 times, and then you have your 3 million silver, okay? Now, of course, when you have premium active and you have islands going and crafting going, you're gonna be making way more silver, okay? So, you know, it gets easier the more you do it. And you could be like, well, I'm not gonna make 300,000 silver because I'm not a tier 8 gatherer. And like I said, your first 3 days of playing, you can get to where I'm at. Like, it's that easy, okay? Like this gear is cheap. This armor's 100k, okay? We made that in 10 minutes. 137k. That's like we could buy the armor with what we just did. Okay? And you may be thinking, well, I don't have. If you're complaining you don't have the time, that this is way too much time investment, then this is not a game for you. Okay, you can go high stakes gambling, go out in the black zone and get killed by 10 guys and lose everything, and then you're broke. Why would you do that to yourself? Okay, we were almost done with the refining process here, and we went from what 266k to 300 and what is that 348k? It looks like. You could also argue that, well, you don't have laborers for the journals, and then I had added 1,000 of the rocks. And that's not fair, and that's not the case, okay? Because I've always told players they need to set up laborers. If you don't have laborers set up, you could sell the journals for a loss. So you would maybe hit 325k instead of 348k. Something like that. And remember that there's 40k from the hearts, so it's technically 400k without premium. In 30 minutes, that means 800k an hour. Okay, so if you're 8.3, like this 8.3 weapon is 5 million. It's a little more than 3 million, but you get the point. Anyway, I'm gonna stash all this stuff now. You can see that, you know, just playing casually, you know, for like, I think everything, I'm gonna show you everything in these chests that I've got after I sort it all here real quick. This is like 1 week of playing. All right, this is not where that goes. This is 1 week of playing. It goes in there. There's wood and metal. So let's look at all the looties, okay? So not that one. Here's some refined goods, 1.9 million in just refined goods. That's not that chest. Not that chest either. Here we go. Here's this random dungeon loot, you know, from doing dungeons, killing mobs in the open world, 210,000 there. This is another just random dungeon loot. Like I did a corrupted dungeon for 30 minutes. You know, I did some solo dungeons, some group dungeons. Now there is my old mining set because I did level up, and guess what? Yeah, I buy a Valonian for every tier, and then when I tier up, I can sell this back for what I paid for. So there's 3.49 million. Also, I used crafting alts for beds and tables. There's empty Tinkerer journals, and I still haven't done anything with the Fisherman journal there yet. Eventually, of course. Then we have more dungeon loot. Look at that, 45 of these Tomes of Insight. Bunch of other dungeon loot, runes, and treasures. That's 3.7 million. This is like a single week, guys. Gathering, this is wood, metal, fiber, and learning tomes for each one. That's 2 million just from gathering, guys. Without premium, this is 3 million. This is just purely leather. This is all just leather because skinning is awesome, okay? And this is without refining all of these tier 2s. I'm waiting on the dang leather day so I can transport them. And then stone, 1.28 million. You can see stone is the worst one. But still, you know, it's something to do. I haven't refined these because I'm waiting on the stone day. So yes, making this video hurt my income a little bit, but that's okay. It's fine. I don't really need the money anyway. I'm all set. And there you go, guys. So you can make plenty of silver to buy whatever it is you want to do in the game. It's a little time consuming, sure, but it's an MMORPG, and compared to other MMORPGs, it's not that bad. So hopefully with that, you understand now the best way to make silver in Albion Online. I'm Soul Benji. Thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. Make sure you're subscribed because I make videos all the time. Yeah. And on the right side of your screen is a video you should absolutely click. Click that join button right down on the left side below this video. $5 a month. It's like subscribing on Twitch, but it's on YouTube. You get access to private, more personal videos. I have all my best actual real silver making methods for members only. Sorry, but I have to eat or I'll die, and then I can't make videos for anyone anymore. So yeah, anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.